gentlemen, coming at you from the house today because we got rid of our old Humminbirds and are putting on new fish finders. So we're gonna unbox them and take you through that process. Stay tuned. First things first, you gotta take it out of the box. This will be the unboxing part of it. These units are really simple. These are just Garmin Striker. This is the 7CV that's going on the front. I don't really feel like you need much bigger. It's nice, especially if you're a live scope guy. I'm definitely not, but I just really need to see what's underneath the boat, temperature, depth. So I don't need that much. So that's why I went with a 7. It saved me a little bit of money, and it's really simple to install. So unit, there it is, all keypadded. I don't like touch screens because your screen gets dirty. You sit there and you poke it all day long, and you're gonna sit there, you're gonna clean it when you need to see it stuff. I'd just rather not even touch my screen, leave it the best I can. It's already bad enough it gets water spots and stuff on it while you're fishing. So there's that. The back of it, you can see, is really easy too. Power, transducer. Doesn't get a lot easier than that. So, going. You got the mount, which this is what it comes with. Kind of downside is just plastic. Some of the higher end units, they're metal. I don't plan on treating it that bad, but if you're a guy that deals with a lot of rough water, you might want to consider that. There's the base if you're going to mount it to just say the floor of your boat or something like that. I've actually got a mount on here already from the old units that should work, where I can just bolt this straight onto it. Power cable, pretty simple here. With the Strikers, you don't have wireless connectivity as far as sharing data, but you can share data between units. And if I can get this zip tie off, or this twist tie, and kind of show you how you do that. But it's really simple, you know, power, red wire, positive, black wire, ground. But these two wires here, these two wires, if you are going to link two of them, you just cross. So from the other unit, you would go blue to brown, you go blue to brown, and then you can turn on the feature in there where they share information like tracks and waypoints. Power wire comes with a sticker that's actually in the house. This here, what we're going to be using. The cool thing about these Striker units too is they come where you are set up to either install it on your trolling motor or on the back of your boat. So there's the mount for it on the trolling motor. You can see it's kind of curved to fit on the bottom of the trolling motor, and they even give you a big fat hose clamp to secure it with, and some zip ties for running the cable up the trolling motor. Here, if you're going to be going out the back of your boat, they give you some wire clips to hold it steady, a flush mount cap for where you drill your hole to run your wire through, and some screws. This one is the transom mount, much the same. Let me rephrase, because that would be what your transducer mounts on. And then this part is what actually screws to the back of the boat. And you get this number, right, the transducer on the bottom. And lastly, the transducer. And again, this one is the CV, which stands for clear view, not SV. The SVs are the ones that have side view with them. Again, it's on the front of my boat. I don't need side view up there. I just need to see what's going on underneath my boat, but I do like the clear view where I can drive over something and see if it's a tree or something. Sometimes when there's a lot of stuff on the bottom, your 2D is a little harder to understand, but that clear view will definitely let you know what you're fishing, what you drive over. So, and you know, that's the transducer. Pretty simple. It's gonna mount this to the bottom of the trolling motor. Hose clamps through. Pretty straightforward, guys. One little 4-pin plug, and that's it. So that's everything you get in the box, all the appropriate mounting hardware. Like I said, cool thing about Garmin is you get both trolling motor and transom mount. The only thing that I could say that is going to be tough for these Garmins is no mapping. I'm gonna have to create my own maps, and I'm okay with that because I've found that a lot of the mapping software is not as accurate as what you can make yourself, and there's little spots within spots that you can find if you make your own maps. Also, I can leave waypoints to this, even though I'm not gonna do it at the dash because I have 2 9s I'm gonna put at the dash. You can do the active captain, and if you mark the waypoints, you can just really quick, if you want to, move it forward to that front graph, and you have all your waypoints up on the front too. So there's the unboxing. That's everything you get in there, everything you need. Now we're gonna move on to installing it. So let's take a little minute and talk about why I went this route. I don't like hummingbirds. They are not as user-friendly. I feel like you're constantly adjusting it. Like I had the 12 mega side imaging at the dash. I never used mega because you can only shoot out the boat 60, 70 feet tops. And I'm normally looking out to the side of the boat way further than that just to find places to fish. But it also seemed like as depth changed, especially with your side imaging, you were constantly in there messing with the gain and the contrast and all this just to get a good picture, and nobody got time for that. You know, the cool thing about Lowrance's and Garmin's, or Garmin's and Lowrance's, they have an auto feature where you can take your gain and you can put it in auto, but you can kind of adjust it up or down as well. Or it will auto adjust for you as you're going up and down in depth. So it'll back some off if you're super shallow, it'll increase it if you're super deep. And that makes it nice. It's very, very useful. So out with the hummingbirds, in with the Garmin's. Let's go. I think I'm gonna start first with this guy onto here. As you can see, there's already holes in there. Those holes don't fit this mount. So I'm gonna have to get crafty, go get some drill bits, line it all up the way I like it, and drill a couple new holes. Also, don't be a knucklehead like me. If you have a mount like this already, keep the screws. Don't send them with the old fish finders. I'm gonna have to go buy new bolts to thread those through after I drill these holes, but they were supposed to stay with the mount, and I got that. So keep your bolts. So I'll put my mount up here, got it where I wanted it. Mark the holes with just a drill bit. You can see all the little silver shiny spots. Just take your drill bit, give it a twist in there, and it'll mark your holes for you. Now we just got to drill it. You know, just be careful drilling metal, aluminum. It can bind up your drill, twist up your wrist, hit you in the face. Just be careful while you're drilling this metal. But we're just gonna drill those holes, and then to select the right size drill bit, I just took this drill bit into the hole, and I picked the size that was just barely bigger than the hole. That'll guarantee that the bolts are gonna fit through it and maybe give me a little wiggle room. So here we go. Put your glasses on, dummy. Last thing you want to do is get a chunk of metal in your eyeball. Wear some glasses. Also be very careful. If you haven't drilled metal before, all of these little shavings are sharp as shit. So cut that out. Mount the transducer to the transducer mount. Right, we got our little screws here. And get on that. Important step for this though, you have to. Whoa! Steps almost got the manhood. You need to make sure of which side this wire needs to run out. This is how I troll my trolling motor. Jesus fucking Christ! That's how I stow my trolling motor. So I don't want this wire going on the underside here. I want it to go on this top side. So I need to make sure that my wire is coming up this way. So when I mount this to that, it needs to come out this side. Oi. Ta-da. underneath, wire will come up top. And so the mounting hardware for the transducer is this. You see a little star washer on it. Just helped it grip into the plastic and stay tight. Got my rotation right here. You can see there's 5 of them. There we go, 5. Just simple as putting them in and screwing them down. If I wouldn't recommend using a drill on this unless you're comfortable. You could strip them out and mess it up, but I like to live dangerously. Just like that. Easy peasy. On to the next. Yep. Alright, so take our hose clamp now. We're going to slide it through the middle here. But you want to look at your trolling motor and the mount and figure out where this clamp isn't going to be impeding on any of the mount stuff. We don't have to worry about where this is just yet. We're just getting it started. But you also want to make sure that this is in a spot where you can access it easily. So we're going to put it about there. Start this. I think I took the drill inside. Nice. Get this started. Ta-da. We can get it kind of snugged up with our fingers before we cinch her down. The cool thing about the Humminbird or the Ultrex is I'm going to be able to put this like right up in there, I think. And then I won't have to do a whole bunch of leveling. Yeah, that's going to work out. Alright, I'm going to go get the drill and we'll cinch that up. And that's how easy that is. You can see, pretty flush. It's nice on the Ultrex, it's got the flat spot and the fin. You can kind of get it just lined up right. I actually was able to put it where it hits these little notches. So I'm confident that's pretty straight. You just want to make sure that that thing's on there straight. You don't want it sitting up here or over here. You don't get good readings. So now we'll run the wires up and show you that. On the wire, I like to take it pretty snug up the shaft here. And I put one right at the base to hold that tight. I don't want that coming loose underwater, getting snagged on anything. Using zip ties. A lot of people are like, don't use zip ties, you'll hurt your transducer cable. Well, yeah, you could hurt your transducer cable if you cinch it up like a damn behemoth and break the wires in there. All we're trying to do is get this thing to be snug. Not tight, just snug. You can kind of feel like this still has room to move in there. I'm probably gonna go a little tiny, one more click. Maybe. Nope, I guess that's it. I might tighten that one up a little bit, but that's the start. That keeps this wire right here tight to the troll motor head. I'm not worried about catching it. And then I just go about every 6 to 8 inches, real inches, not man inches, you know, that's not 8 inches, guys, you know, somewhere in here. And from there, we just take it up the shaft until we get to somewhere up in here. You can adjust your trolling motor head up and down, so you don't really want to try and put this all the way down and then put your cable ties up in here, because then you'll have problems raising and lowering your motors. Let's go talk about yay. There we go, snug, but not too tight. Come with a lot of memory out of the package, so you do have to pull it kind of tight to get that memory out of it. And we'll do one more.
Are we adjusting our trolling motor at all? Height?
We do sometimes.
Okay.
Because I'm going to push it down. This is about as high as we go, though. You don't normally pull it up any higher than that. Maybe if we were getting into some weeds, so maybe we'll give ourselves a little bit here.
Okay.
That way it's just under the surface, you don't bury it up in weeds. That's not very good. Or it hasn't. It's pretty snug. There we go. We can clip all these tags off. And for the next step, you kind of want to deploy the trolling motor and see where all your bends happen, because essentially we're taking this wire and we're going to run it down the back side of the mount so we can run it into the cavity here. You're going to stop. The shaft here, you got to be mindful. As the trolling motor turns, you got to leave yourself a little slack. Go ahead. You can see here when you move it, it's got enough room to do its thing. You can make a loop or you can just leave it like this. So I decided to attach that here to my stabilizer. And it's kind of loose, so if I have to drop my trolling motor, I can still pull it out, but it keeps it managed, so I can run it up next to the cables running to the pedal. Alright guys, so we got the transducer wire ran all the way up the cables. This cap is where the cables come out, but I'm going to take this whole faceplate off to give myself some room to work. So I'm going to take both off. Now we got access, and for the transducer you could just leave your wires up here bunched up neatly, coiled. We're not going to do that. We're going to run it in first and then back out, and that'll be when we put the black cover back on. But we have to get in here and get to our power wires, which we hacked off the old ones. And where are they? I thought they were orange. There they are. Here we've got our power wires, which we've already got. We've already got wires set up, right? Depth finders, accessories, right? So this one actually says depth finder on it, so that's the one I think we're gonna roll with, even though that's not what it was hooked up to. It was hooked up to the accessory. Depth finder A. Cool thing is this one already has unused crimpers. But I'm not going to use those. I don't like using crimpers. I always have problems with them. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to twist them together and use electrical tape. Exactly what they tell you not to do. But I've done this for many years now, whether it's car electronics, speaker wires, blah blah. I never have a problem taking my wires, wrapping them up a certain way, and taping them real tight with electrical tape. It ain't going to hurt nothing. Just do it that way if you want. Cutters. Remember them pliers? Alright guys, I'm going to show you how I splice my wires. As you can see, I've kind of just frayed them both out. And this gives you a good inline connection. Just slide them together like so. And you start to twist one side around like that. Kind of encases the other insulation. Now the other ones, the smaller ones, I spin them in the opposite direction. It gives me a nice, tight, inline, solid connection. Then we're going to tape up. Put my tape. And when you're taping it, give yourself a little bit and start it at a slight angle like this so that you can get a good tight wrap on the first one. And we cinch that first part down, and that allows you to work it down this way with a good tight wrap. I've never had this be a problem for me when it comes to connections. You know, it's not like we're doing anything high voltage or anything like that. It's 12 volts. It's not got a lot of weight to it. It's not going to get pulled out. It's more than sufficient for what you need. No need to go spend extra money on wire cutters. I mean, if you want to, that's up to you. There we go. Now we have power. Again, brown and blue wires are for only if you're networking them together. We are not. So that part is done. Again, we're going to run the transducer wire down through the hole. Same hole's going to come out of it, but we've got the extra here. We got to manage. So, just going to follow the normal bends that I already had coming out of the box. Tie it up. Give you a bunch in case you have to run a long distance, but we don't. Is it tiny? Cool. Right. The cable's relatively cleaned up. Though I will say that Skeeter does you dirty. Well, most folks do you dirty because they don't think about the fact that you might be changing this stuff later. We had to cut zip ties in places up this boat, up under here that were just off. There's not a lot of fence. Alright, so transducer back up through, power cable back up through. Ta-da! We got that. We're going to put the plate back down, the cap, just right here, and then these wires are going to come come out of this cap, like so. We're gonna have a nice, clean, beautiful setup. Ta-da! Be back in a minute. 2 wires out. Morning, how you doing? 2 wires out. They'll go right up into the back of the unit. It's nice and clean. Now we got to go get the bolts to do the mounting, and then we can turn it on. All right, guys, there it is. We're mounted up, powered on for the first time. She beeping. Look at that. Go through the setup here. United States. You're speaking English. Store demo off for now. Not putting shallow water alarms on. There we go. Ta-da! She's working. We'll do another video on settings and getting it set up for the lake. But that's it as far as the install. Super easy. If you guys got any questions, hit me up down below. I've used these units before. I'm pretty familiar with Garmin, so I can answer a few of those questions for you. So till next time, go out catching fish. Peace.